Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sevio Guadamosi, and today I will be discussing with, of course, a group of people that is very dear to my heart, teenagers. Yeah, just a couple of years ago, I was one, I was a teenager too, and you know, it sort of gives me joy every time I have to be around young people to share, one or two things that I believe um, could help equip them further and better for the journey of life. Today we will be discussing about overcoming challenges to vision, overcoming challenges to vision overcoming challenges to vision. Well, if you are a part of the TBN Teens Church, I am sure that you have a full understanding by now of what vision is, and but nevertheless, I will just give a quick definition of what vision is. Vision is God's revealed plan and purpose for an individual, a group, or a generation. It is the ability to see beyond the present circumstances and align with God's divine direction for the future. I'll take that again. Vision is God's revealed plan and purpose for an individual, a group, or a generation. It is the ability to see beyond present circumstances and align with God's divine direction for the future. Now, I would take two Bible verses to illustrate the essence and purpose of vision in our lives, either as teenagers or as humans generally. The first scripture will be taken from the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 18. And this is taken from the King James Version of the Bible. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. The second verse is taken from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2. And this is taken from the New King James Version. And it says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. So, how do we overcome the challenges to vision? What are the challenges that we face in pursuit of the visions that we believe have been given to us or handed over to us by God? And I'm focusing on these challenges because over time we have been taught the different processes and steps that can lead us to the discovery of what God's vision for our individual lives are. So today we would just narrow our discussion to some of the challenges that we can encounter as we go about the pursuit and fulfillment of this vision, and how we can go about overcoming these challenges. Now, you should have it at the back of your mind, like we have always taught, that every great vision faces challenges. Every great vision, once it is once you're sure that it is a God-given vision, you are going to encounter diverse challenges along the way. But God equips us to overcome all the challenges that will come our way. God equips us to overcome the challenges that will come our way as we go about the pursuit of our vision. This can be found in the book of Nehemiah chapter 4 verses 1 to 6. The book of Nehemiah chapter 4 verses 1 to 6. Now, vision comes from God. As we have seen in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, which I read from earlier, vision comes from God, but vision challenges and tests our faith and our commitment. It challenges us it tests our faith in God, it tests our commitment to the task and the steps that God has outlined for us to take in the fulfillment of that vision. Now, what are the common challenges to vision, and what are the biblical solutions to overcoming them? What are the common challenges that can stand between us and the fulfillment of our God-given vision, and the biblical solutions to them? Well, number one is fear and doubt. Fear and doubt. Fear paralyzes us, but faith empowers us. Fear paralyzes us, but faith empowers us. Now, the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 encourages us to put our trust in God and trust in His promises and purpose for our lives. Now, as much as we have uncertainty, we have doubts about everything that God has asked us to do. When we lean on the arms of faith, it serves as an empowerment that helps us to overcome the challenges that fear and doubt constitute as we go about the pursuit of our vision. Number two would be lack of resources. Yes, you believe that God has called you, He has given you this vision, He has told you to do this, to do that, but you don't necessarily have the resources to go about the implementation or pursuit of that vision. Now, if we go to the book of Philippians, the famous Philippians 4:19, we will realize that God provides for every purpose and every vision that He hands over to us. God has already made provisions for the purpose, for every purpose He calls us to, for every vision that He commits into our care. So my advice would be that you start with what you have. So if we look at the book of Exodus chapter 4 verse 2, we will see a very good example of starting with what we have in the story of Moses. Here God had called him, and then God he was saying, no, I am not fit for this mission, I am not fit for this purpose and everything. I think you're making a mistake. This was Moses in conversation with God. I think you're making a mistake. You should consider somebody else for this particular mission. But I don't have what it takes. I stutter, I stammer, I can't even speak eloquently. So why is it that I am the one you're considering for such a mission as this? But then God simply said to him, start with what you have. And one of the questions God asked him was, what is it that you have in your hands? And then what did he have in his hands at that particular time? It was a shepherd's rod, the same rod with which he was steering and directing the sheep. And it was the same rod that God began to work miracles with for a start. So when God calls us, no matter how big, how gigantic the mission, the vision we feel God has committed into our hands is, He would always ask us to start where we are and with what we have. Now, but the third challenge to vision I would like us to consider today is opposition and criticism. Opposition and criticism. Now, if we go to the book of Nehemiah chapter 6 verse 3, we would see there that when God had called Nehemiah to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he shared it amongst his brethren, and of course he shared it with the political leadership of the day. And there was a lot of opposition to it because everybody felt, oh, you are going to endanger your life. And how are you even sure? How would you be able to because at this point you will recall that the Israelites were in exile. How would you even be able to go to the kingdom in which they were exiles in and request of the king that you want to go on a long journey to your hometown where you've been exiled from for years, and that you want to go and look at its walls, study the level of disrepair and damage it has suffered through the years, and begin to bring it, rebuild it? Where would you get the resources? Are you sure that place must have been overtaken by gangs and criminal elements? How would you protect yourself? How would you how would you secure the manpower and resources that you need for such a huge vision and mission that you say God has given you. So he faced countless criticism, he faced opposition. But you see, if we also look at the way that God enabled him and granted him favor and access to resources as he went about the pursuit of that vision, it would give us hope and strengthen our faith, because it is an example in the Bible for us to follow. He went about the pursuit of that vision regardless of how big it was, of how huge it was, and God made the resources available for him as he went by, regardless of the opposition and the criticism that he met along the way. So the fourth element is failure and setbacks. Failure and setbacks. Now, we have always stressed that as we go on as we continue the journey of life, we would always be faced with setbacks, with failures, with disappointments. It's an essential part of the human journey, of the journey of life. But one thing that we always have to have at the back of our mind when we contend with failure and setbacks is that every failure, every setback is an opportunity to start all over again. And when we are starting all over again, we are not starting from the scratch or from the same level we were before we encountered that failure or disappointment. We are going forward with that knowledge in hindsight, so that even if we haven't learned how to do it better through the process of failure, we have at least, that process of failure and setback would at least have taught us one or more ways of how not to do it. And that knowledge can become a stepping stone that we can build on as we go about the pursuit of the vision that we believe God has committed into our hands. Okay, so the fifth and final point that I will be discussing regarding the challenges challenges to implementing and achieving our vision is distractions and temptations. Like I said, when we believe that God has called us to a particular purpose and we have found it, He has committed a particular vision into our hands, there is a high need for us to stay focused. Because as we go along on the journey of life, there will be lots and lots of distractions and temptations. Out there, being teenagers, we'll find that there are 1 million things always competing for our attention. We have friends, we have acquaintances who are doing more fun things, more engaging things with their time. But the vision and the purpose that we believe God has called us to would require a higher level of commitment and devotion on our part. So, regardless of the distractions and the temptations that we will constantly face, there is the need for us to remain focused on taking the steps and actions that can lead to a gradual fulfillment and achievement of that vision. This can be seen, for example, in the book of Matthew. In the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 to 11, where we find that even Jesus was tempted of the devil. The devil understood that he was on assignment. He understood the vision and the mission that God has called him to. He understood the very reason why Jesus was here on earth at that particular point in time. And the devil came to him with distractions, with enticing rewards that could derail him from the path of purpose. Now, we saw, for example, how Jesus was able to stay focused and rebuff the devil. Sent the devil packing. And when the devil, after several trials, saw that, man, this one get coconutted, the devil just left him alone. And when the devil left him alone, what happened? Angels came and ministered to him. That ministration of angels that Jesus experienced after that temptation was a restoration effort for him to be able to recoup and recover from that temptation, from that distraction that the devil presented him with. So, in the same way, every time, we need to understand that there will be distractions, there will be temptations. But as long as we stay focused and committed to the vision that God has committed into our hands, His angels will constantly be with us and they would nurse us back to the path of purpose. So, in closing, a few takeaways from today's conversation. First, and I would like us also, these takeaways for me I would also like them to form a sort of assignment for everybody, life skills that we can, work on between now and the next time we see again. One is taken from the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 17, which says that we should always pray and seek God's direction. We should always pray and seek God's direction. Now, we should always surround ourselves with godly mentors and friends. We should always surround ourselves with godly mentors and friends. That can be found in the book of Proverbs chapter 27 verse 17. Now, we should also always, as we go about overcoming the challenges that we encounter in the pursuit of our vision, we should always trust God's timing and process. We should always trust God's timing and process. And we can find a reference to this in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. Now, finally, we should keep moving forward regardless of the obstacles and challenges that come our way. We should keep moving forward regardless of the obstacles and challenges that come our way. So, my challenge to you as you go about the pursuit of your vision this week would be that you pray and seek God's direction regarding the vision you believe He has committed into your hands, regarding God's vision for your lives. And that is based, like I said at the beginning of this session, that this session is premised on the fact that we already have an understanding of what God's vision and purpose for our lives are. Now, if you don't have that already, so my challenge to you would be that you pray and seek God's direction regarding the vision and the purpose you believe He has called you to. And as you seek as you pray and seek God's direction, I would want you to have a notebook with you and listen to Him. Listen to Him for feedback, and then put down that which God would say to you in the place of prayer regarding the direction and the vision, and regarding the direction in which He would want you to take the vision He has committed into your hands this new year. So I will look forward to reading your notes, on this, and of course having you all share what you believe God has shared with you in the place of prayer this new week. Thank you everyone for being a part of this session, and I'll see you again.